It's been a little over a year since I released my video, How I Lost 100 Pounds, my story. I've lost a little less than 10 pounds total this year, but I've lost quite a few inches and I've gained some inches as well. When I went into making the video, I wanted to share less of a workout video, less of a specific diet video, and more of a video about how I got to the point to where I was able to lose 100 pounds and keep it off and maintain that. From the comments, I feel like a lot of people connected with that video, but I also got a lot of comments from people that stated like, too long, don't read, moved more, ate less. And yes, that is entirely true. That is a super simplified version of exactly what I did. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the reality of that and exactly what that means, because for me, that's not exactly what it was. I already told my story about my past. I already told my story of exactly how I got here, so I don't want to touch that at all. If you didn't see that, go ahead and watch that video first. But I do want to say that losing weight is hard. No matter what people on the internet will tell you, to just put down the fork or you just have to do this one simple thing, it's not that. There are many ways to lose weight fast. There's many fad diets and many fad workouts. But the one thing that I have learned over my life is those typically don't work. I know that's what happened to me, and I feel like a lot of people connect with that. People will say they've lost a dramatic amount of weight from this one specific diet, but then you check in with them a few years later and they've gained it all back. I know that's what happened to me, and I know that's what happens to a lot of people. I believe when you do a fad diet or you do a diet where you lose weight really fast, you simply don't learn the lessons that get you to change your life. I will say this, the message that I've learned from this whole thing is that losing weight and dieting are not the same as dropping fat and getting fit and healthy. If somebody asks me what I do now, it might seem crazy or intense or just far too much. For other people, it may be light effort. I know that. Everybody's different. Now, this is what I do now to be in the best shape of my life and the healthiest I've ever been. It's not focused on losing weight. It's focused on being in shape. I know where my head was when I first started this, when I was 275 pounds. And if I said this is what you have to do to get where I'm at now, there's no way, there's no way I would have started it. You can agree or disagree with any part of it, but these are all things that I enjoy and make me feel good. Currently, I wake up at 4 to 5 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I get up, make my coffee, wear my red light belt around my stomach and chest for about 15 minutes each. Then I get in my cold plunge. That's around 48 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. I do this to reduce inflammation, fatigue, and generally you get a huge mood boost when you get out. It's like drinking 5 cups of coffee all at once. If anybody's interested in this, let me know. I DIY'd my own cold plunge. I didn't buy one of those crazy expensive ones. I then get dressed, go to the gym, and then I run on the treadmill for 30 minutes. After that, I lift weights for about an hour, depending on what the plan of the day is. Now I get my gym plan from my trainer Dylan over at Trainwell, today's sponsor. Trainwell is a one-on-one personal training service that uses a pretty incredible app that makes personal training super convenient. I was never really into the gym, and getting started was pretty tough for me. I had a personal trainer at my home gym for a few weeks. It is what got me started, but the sessions were short, scheduling was always difficult. Honestly, it was only like once or twice a month, and then the rest of the time I was 100% on my own. And it was really expensive. I was definitely making some progress, but I knew I wanted more. With Trainwell, I just took a short quiz that paired me with my trainer. I then had a one-on-one call with my trainer, Dylan. We went through everything that I wanted. I was very specific with my goals, which more on those later, I'll tell you about them. But he set me up. 3 days a week, I have a full plan that my trainer keeps updated constantly. If I want to add a workout, he adds it in. If I feel like I'm not getting enough out of the reps, he brings the weights up or adds more to it. It's incredible. Anytime I have a race coming up, he adjusts the workout so that way it keeps me prepped and ready for the race and my legs fresh and ready to go. And if you have an Android or Apple Watch, you can get detailed form feedback while you're working out. I will hear my trainer's voice telling me to slow down or speed up. He'll give me tips to get the right form, along with sometimes counting reps and motivation. It's slick. And if for some reason you don't feel like your trainer is the perfect match, you could switch it anytime in the app. When I started working with Trainwell, that is when things took off for me. Everything changed. So gang, take the quiz to find your perfect trainer. Head over to go.trainwell.net/SauceStache and get 14 days of free training. That's go.trainwell.net/SauceStache. Dylan at Trainwell totally changed the game for me and got me where I am on this fitness journey. Now, once I get done with that workout, I hop in the sauna at the gym for 30 minutes. I love to sweat it out. I don't know what it is, but I just get such a rush being in the heat. Then I head home. This is around 7:30 or 8 a.m. At this point, I make a protein shake or make a smoothie bowl, usually around a cup of fruit, maybe some vegan yogurt. It's typically around 400 calories. I track everything by weight. Now for lunch, I do have like a lot of like lentils, beans, or tofu. One of my favorite things is like a lentil burrito. I like the lentil burrito. I order this sometimes, usually a few times a week from Earthy Picks. That's typically 600 to 700 calories. I snack on things throughout the day like mangoes, apples, blueberries, typically around 100 to 300 calories extra in snacks. Monica and I wrap up work around 6 p.m. and on Monday and Wednesday night, we head to yoga. After yoga, we eat dinner, typically for me, 600 to 800 calories. That can include lentils, beans, or tofu again, sometimes like mushrooms. Usually I'm going to include maybe like a light grain with a lot more vegetables. I'd like to make things very calorie dense. I just shared dinner recipe earlier this week or last week. That's going to look something similar to what I eat, like a sweet potato with loads of veggies. Like I said, around 600 calories. Then I finish off the night with a square of dark chocolate. On Tuesdays and Sundays, I wake up around the same time, toss on my red light, then go for my long run. Those are about 6 to 12 miles, depending on the day and where I'm at in my training. When I get home, hop in the cold plunge, eat my breakfast. It's going to be a similar breakfast, similar lunch, and similar dinner. Nothing really changes throughout the week there. Except on Thursday nights, I have my shorter runs. Those are typically my like interval or speed workouts. Those are a lot more intensive. They require a different type of food for the day. Those days, I don't do as much protein and focus heavily on carbohydrates. My breakfast is usually fruit with like an oatmeal or overnight oat bowl. Sometimes I'll top it with grape nuts. Throughout the day, it's gonna be a lot of fruit and grains. I love graham crackers. Then on Saturdays, wake up, cold plunge, go to hot yoga first thing in the morning. Same thing throughout the day. Typically, I eat between 2,000 and 2,200 calories, which for a 44-year-old that's being pretty active, this is kind of common. Some days I eat quite a bit more, but never less. Now, when I first started this journey, if I would have ate that many calories, I probably never would have lost weight. Now, it might be super obvious for someone who's fit or somebody who's always been relatively healthy, but if I would have started my weight loss journey eating and working out the way that I do now, I don't know if I would have made it all the way through. I believe I might have gotten frustrated or maybe even given up. I know myself. Because I was always what I considered active. I was never really a couch potato. I always thought I was personally moving enough. I would see my friends who were usually relatively thin. They didn't work out. They didn't watch what they eat. They didn't go to the gym. They just maintained that life. So to me, doing my own yard work, going for walks, I always wondered why I was the way I was. But I realized everyone was different. When I first started this journey, I thought it had to be all about the food and all about the weight loss. I wasn't thinking about the health aspect or being fitter. I honestly didn't realize the more I moved, the more I could eat, which sounds a little silly now to me. So really, out of this entire journey, I realized it wasn't about losing weight, it was about getting in shape. The weight loss journey started in August of 2020, about a year before Monica and I got married. I would fluctuate between 275 and 265 pounds. I didn't really weigh myself that much, so there was no like good starting point. By October of 2021, our wedding, I was 244 pounds. But after the wedding, I got off paying attention to it. I ended up maintaining my weight through July of 2022. I was around 240 pounds at that time. I spoke with my doctor who wanted me to lose weight and suggested I tried intermittent fasting. I ate during an 8-hour window and fasted 16 hours. So I was still eating better portions, better food choices, more calorie-dense foods like fruits and vegetables, and limiting fats and sugars. But I was stressed with the YouTube channel, I was in therapy, and I generally wasn't happy. Remember one day, everything kind of came together. I had a therapy session, and my therapist recommended that I move more, kind of get out some of the energy and release some of the anxieties that I was having. And then that same night, Monica was out of town. I flipped on Netflix, and I turned on a documentary that just came out. I think it was called Stutz. And it was about Jonah Hill and his therapist, Stutz. The therapist said if he could just tell everybody to like move more, focus on their health, be more creative, focus on like family and friends, they would be 80% happier. So I called Monica up that night and we decided that when she got home from her parents that weekend, we were going to start yoga together. That same week, I had a friend ask me to do a 5K with him. So I downloaded the Couch to 5K app, did the 9-week program, and I started running. I was running 3 days a week, I was doing yoga 3 days a week. I kept that cycle going between July of 2022 and April of 2023. Along with intermittent fasting, I ended up losing 55 more pounds. By August of that year, I was between 175 and 168, 167 pounds, and I filmed my weight loss video. At this point, it was still only about the weight for me. I felt great that I lost all the weight, but I wasn't happy with my appearance. I didn't look the way that I wanted to look. I was actually pretty fatigued a lot of the times. I wasn't feeling super great. And by February 2024, I gained some weight back, got up to around 190 pounds. I was getting a little frustrated and I wanted to figure out what my path was, what exactly my goal was. And I had kind of a realization that the goal wasn't about weight. It's always been about completely changing my life. I wanted to be more fit. I wanted to feel healthier. I wanted my heart to feel better. It wasn't just about the weight. I joined a run training group here in Orlando called Run BMT. Love these guys. During that time in the program, I was super motivated by the other athletes in the group. Just seeing these people on Strava working out every day, which by the way, you could follow me on Strava. While in the group, I learned about cross training, realizing I probably needed to go to the gym. I learned about fueling my runs and eating healthier. I stopped intermittent fasting, and at this time, I started getting more energy. I wasn't feeling fatigued anymore, and I ended up losing 15 more pounds. For me personally, what I wanted, what I considered looking in shape and being fit was I wanted to see my abs. I wanted to see definition. This is just what I wanted. This doesn't have to be for you. I lost this much weight at this point. I wanted to go all the way. I had a mental image of looking like a Marvel superhero, even though I knew that probably wasn't reasonable, but I figured if they could do it, I probably could too. So I joined the gym, got a trainer, started to learn how to work out properly with weights. Over the next few months, I dropped another 10 pounds, getting to the lightest I ever was. I felt like I got a little stronger, and I couldn't have done this without the trainer I had, but I realized I needed more time with a trainer, something that was a little bit more hands-on. That's when I signed up with Trainwell and told him my goals. At this point, I was fully on board with my health journey. It was no longer about weight, and everything changed. My focus is health. I gained weight, but lost inches. I'm finally starting to look the way that I want to look. I have visible abs for the first time in my entire life. I don't know why that matters so much to me, but it just kind of does. We just had the hurricane, and when I was boarding up the windows, carrying the boards, everything never felt lighter and easier. It was awesome. I can run now without being winded, and unlike when I was trying to diet and eat less to lose weight, I now have so much more energy, and I can eat so much more. I feel like I am eating so much more. So now here we are today in the journey. I just turned 44 years old and I feel the best I've ever felt in my entire life. I'm doing a half marathon in December and I signed up for one of the charity spots in a major marathon coming up in March. Fingers crossed I get into that. If I do, you'll be hearing a lot about that. But I'm doing things now that a couple of years ago I could have never imagined doing, ever. It just doesn't feel like my life. So from everything I have learned, here is my advice if you are struggling. Definitely take your own path, but start slow and do one thing at a time. Do one thing, get good at it, feel good at it, then add a little bit more, and don't stop. Unlike a diet, you're not gonna just do it for a few weeks and then be done. You're gonna make lots of little changes that will make lots of little effects over a long period of time. And then eventually those little changes all add up into big, massive changes in the way you live your life. I don't recommend just cutting out one specific type of food or only eating one specific type of food like some of these crazy diets on the internet. Eat the things that you enjoy, but learn how to moderate them and add healthy things in. I was never a big fruit guy. I never had lots of fruit around the house, and now I snack on fruit all day long. But I only got to that point not because I forced myself to eat fruit, because I just made small changes that led me to eating fruit every day. If you start making the small changes for your health and your happiness, you're never gonna be done and you're gonna feel amazing over time. Now this is probably gonna be the last weight loss video, so I hope it inspires you to change your life. But I also hope that it inspires you to give yourself a little grace. If you try something and you're not losing weight, don't think that you're broken. It just means you probably have to make a small change. Just keep at it and it will make a difference. Just keep at it. Thanks again to Trainwell for being a part of changing my life and sponsoring today's video. Make sure you head over to go.trainwell.net/SauceStache to take the quiz to find your perfect trainer and get 14 days of free training. That's go.trainwell.net/SauceStache.